Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. I'm your host, Mike. Today I got some new pickups I've got recently. A couple of these are newer releases that just came out in the past month or so, 2 months, 3 months. Not very old. And then I got some other ones I want to show that I recently watched, pulled off the shelf and watched again. One of them is a movie I really like. It's got one of my favorite actors of all time, and I will show that to you in a minute. But let's start off with this is a new release. This is a newer I guess this is the new release because it just came out on 4K. But I think it also, I don't know if it also came out on Blu-ray again, but it had previously been out on Blu-ray from the same company. I'm talking about Cinema Paradiso on Arrow Academy through Arrow Video, and it's probably one of my favorite like foreign films of all times. I think it came out in 1988. I first saw it around 90, I think, I think it got released in America, or it made a big splash in America around then. I think it won Best Foreign Language Film to 1990 Oscars, I believe. But yeah, I love this movie. It's such a sweet, warm, charming movie. It's just great. It's from the director Giuseppe Tornatore, and it has music by Ennio Morricone, which is so memorable. It's one of the best things about the picture. One of the many best things about it is the themes, the haunting themes. There's I think a love theme or something that's very memorable. But yeah, it's a great addition. Let's see, it came out on 4K, and then they released a Blu-ray of it, and the Blu-ray is pretty loaded. I think it has some stuff that had already been on previous issues. But I waited for years to get this because there's many different versions. I think there's a Studio Canal release. There's quite a few on Blu-ray. And this had come out previously, and I almost got it then, but I kept it in my cart forever and on Amazon, and finally I just pulled the trigger because it's like I love this movie. It's so good. But yeah, it's got a lot of extra stuff. This is a 4K restoration they did. And then there's a 2K restoration of the director's cut on here. So I don't believe I've ever seen the director's cut. I watched the director's cut and it was really good. It's got the 5.1 surround sound mix. And it's got the original mono mix, which I love the mono mix. It's got some documentaries. It's got a 52-minute documentary called A Dream of Sicily. It's about the director. It's got a 27-minute documentary on the making of Cinema Paradiso with the characters, the actors who played Toto, the little boy Toto, and Alfredo, the gruff, older projectionist at this little theater in Italy. And it was more of a father figure to little Toto, who lost his father during World War II. And it's such a great movie. It has so many sequences in there, memorable, and it's just a great movie. I mean, if you love, if you just love good movies, it's also a movie. It's like, Toto, the little boy, grows up to be a movie director, famous director and everything. And he's basically looking back at his life after Alfredo, the projectionist, dies. And it leads him on a journey of memories, and he's thinking back, his whole life. So we flash back to where he's maybe a 7-year-old, 6-year-old, who's in love with movies, and basically this small village in Italy where everything seems to revolve around the movie theater and their local church, and it's just such a great movie. If you've never seen it, do yourself a treat and check this movie out. I don't know if you buy this edition, which I highly recommend, or there's many other editions out there to get, but I highly recommend Cinema Paradiso. Next up, guys, this is another newer release. Paramount Pictures have been putting out all kinds of past movies from the Paramount line of movies and blockbusters and classics and everything. And this is a movie by Cecil B. DeMille. I have to admit, I've never been a big fan of Cecil B. DeMille. I know he's like one of the most legendary directors of all time. I mean, I think his reputation he's got more of a known reputation of the name than of work. I mean, he's done a lot of work. Of course, he did the Ten Commandments, and he did the original Ten Commandments. He did the original. He just did a bunch of movies. He did all kinds of movies, starting way back in the teens. He was one of the first directors out in Hollywood and stuff. So yeah, he's a legend, but I just can't say I look at his work and think, I love his movies. They were always crowd-pleasing movies, the originator of the blockbuster, if you will. But yeah, there's a few movies I really do like. I mean, of course, I like the Ten Commandments. It's such a huge, beautiful Technicolor movie. And in 1952, he did a movie called The Greatest Show on Earth, and that's what I have here. This is part of the... almost dropped it there. This is the part of this Paramount Pictures line where they're releasing a whole bunch of them, where you got the special packaging, you got the original poster there, and everything. Got a nice slipcover. And this movie, I remember seeing this on TV a long time ago, and I had copied it, made on a VHS tape. This was like, 26 years ago, almost 30 years ago, actually. When I first saw this, I copied it off TV. But I always liked how it opened. It's very memorable. Charlton Heston stars as the head of this circus, the Ringling Brothers Circus, which is captured in vivid Technicolor. It's got a great cast. Jimmy Stewart plays a clown in this movie, which he's basically under makeup the whole entire time. I mean, I love Jimmy Stewart. He's always good, but he's completely covered up. I'm going to jump around a little bit about this movie. It has one special feature. This is hosted by Leonard Maltin, where he talks about it. It's about 25 minutes long, which is pretty cool. Kind of grew up with Leonard Maltin. I mean, his yearly book that would come out every year, I would always get it, and it was like my movie Bible. I would look up all the names and all the stuff, and it kind of got me into movies. I kind of focused on what did Leonard Maltin rate it, and he was a big fan of classic movies and animation and stuff. So just side note there about Leonard Maltin, but as he is to a lot of people. But it's got a great cast. Let me tell you a few people that's in this. It's got Cornell Wilde, Charlton Heston, Dorothy Lamour, Gloria Graham, Jimmy Stewart, Betty Hutton, basically the entire Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus. It's got everything. It's such a colorful movie. There's a couple of really cool memorable scenes in it, one being the train wreck. There's a giant train wreck, and just the special effects at the time, looking back at it now, it doesn't seem to be much, but at the time it was, a huge effect, and it, just everybody loved, the stuff like that. But it's a big movie, crowd pleasing movie. It's a little bit over, it's about almost 3 hours long, 2.5 hours long. But anyways, Greatest Show on Earth. I'm getting a few of these. I'm just going to get the ones that I really want to get. Like, I'm not going to try to collect the whole series, but I really like how Paramount is putting out some stuff on Blu-ray finally. They're finally, you know, I'm hoping they will reach in there and pull out some stuff that's not, you know, what you think they're going to just re-release again. You know, this is not one of the ones I would have thought they would have done. But yeah, really cool. The Greatest Show on Earth. It's really cool. I like Charlton Heston too. He's really cool. Now this is a release of a movie. This is actually new too. This is from Viavision, which is an Australian company. This is Robert De Niro's, I think this was the first movie he directed. It's called A Bronx Tale. And this came out also around 91, 92, something like that. 93. Okay, 93. And I remember it's really good. It's got Chaz Palminteri as the neighborhood gangster. You got Robert De Niro is a bus driver who's trying to, you know, raise his little boy with some value, with some, you know, to not look up to these, you know, the gangsters in the neighborhood, not look up to this guy, because his son has a fascination with Chaz Palminteri and stuff, and he eventually works for him. He's influenced and stuff, and there's a tuggle between the two, the father and the gangster in the neighborhood, and it's a really good story. It's impressive. You know, Robert De Niro's directing debut, and I think he did a really good job. This movie came out, and This Boy's Life came out in like 95 with Leonardo DiCaprio. And for some reason, I always kind of think of those two movies together. Either, you know, even though they don't have, you know, similarities. Well, the similarities they have is like a young boy, and you're seeing it from their point of view. Plus, Robert De Niro's in both of them, but for some reason, I always just think of those two together. But yeah, the Bronx Tale. This is a region. I think this is all region. This might be all region. Most of Viavision stuff. No, actually, it's a B. So you have to have an all-region player to see this, but I think it's available, definitely available on DVD and stuff. So check that out, A Bronx Tale. Now here's a movie. I may or may not have shown this to you in the past. I got around to rewatching it. There's been a few movies that I've been rewatching that were newer, and I got them off the shelf and maybe had it in a past video, I'm not sure, but I had a chance to really watch it, because I was, you know, before I put it back on the shelf for a while, I was thinking, did I really watch this all the way? Did I know everything? But the movie I'm talking about is The Frozen Dead. This is a Warner Archive release. It stars Dana Andrews and Anna Paquin. This is a really weird movie. It's from the 60s. I think this came out in 1966. It's really weird. It's like a sci-fi horror movie. Basically, the Nazis are like freezing people to bring them back, like some Nazis. Like it's a real strange movie. It's really weird, but Dana Andrews stars in this ghoulish sci-fi story, The Frozen Dead. 20 years after World War II has ended, members of the Nazi parties remain, and they are determined to rise to power. Having funded German doctor Rupert Norberg, that's Dana Andrews, cryogenics experiments since the war, the party makes it clear that they expect him to reanimate some 1,500 frozen Nazis. Fearing for his life, Norberg continues his research in increasingly horrific research, murderous ways, and when his niece Anna Paquin, best friend, goes missing, the young woman tries desperately to enlist the help from an American scientist played by Philip Gilbert to stop the madness. So yeah, it was a really interesting movie. I don't know if it was considered like maybe a sci-fi, maybe even a drive-in movie at the time. I just remember some of the scenes where it's got a head, it's supposed to be just a decapitated head, and he's got wires hooked up to it, and it's they're on, and he's moving, and it kind of goes back to some of the other movies from the 50s, like The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and movies like that. It's a lot of fun. Plus, it's in a pretty vivid color. I mean, it's really cool how they lit the movie and how they light it, how it's filmed and everything. It looks really cool. For a kind of a cheesy kind of B movie at the time, it really is pretty cool. And so I think anybody that, if you haven't seen this, give this a look. I gave it a second look and I thought it was pretty cool. So The Frozen Dead. Next up, I got two movies by one of my favorite actors of all time, Jack Nicholson. Robert De Niro also is one of my favorite actors of all time that is still with us. This movie came out in 2002. The movie is called About Schmidt. This is a movie about Jack Nicholson plays a older man who's been basically pushed out to retire, while a newer guy takes over his role. It's in like he works for an insurance company, and he buys a RV, and his wife, I'm trying to think if it's Hope Davis. Anyways, his wife is, no, it's not. I don't know. Who was his wife? Was it? It wasn't Hope Davis, was it? But anyways, he's stuck at home now. He kind of hates this. It shows him these quirky little episodes and stuff. His wife passes away, anyways, and his daughter is getting ready to get married. She's marrying this like real doofus guy. So he drives out west where she's getting married, and he meets her mom, who's played by Kathy Bates, and it's just a little weird, quirky movie. Alexander Payne directed it, so it's pretty cool. I mean, he was making some really good movies around that time period, the early 2000s and stuff. He made movies like, that movie about, what was it, Sideways. He made Sideways and some stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pretty good performance. I mean, yeah, I know Jack Nicholson is really getting up there in the age and stuff, but he has this huge body of work. And I've been trying to pick up a few Jack Nicholson movies here and there that I don't already have to start, getting all his movies, because I really do love Jack Nicholson. He's really cool. So About Schmidt. So it was about time to get this movie. So I got that. And finally, guys, this is one of my favorite Jack Nicholson movies of all time. And I waited a while to get it on Blu-ray. I think I had a DVD copy from years ago, and I think I got rid of it because I knew there was an Indicator release coming out. And that's what I have here. The Indicator Powerhouse Films release of The Last Detail, the 1973 Hal Ashby classic. It's such a great movie. Jack Nicholson, just classic performance. It's also a movie that when they do retrospectives about Jack Nicholson, they don't always include this movie, but this has been one of my favorite movies. It's got a young Randy Quaid in it. There's a guy named Otis Young, and they play these two Navy. I'm trying to think what their rank is, but two Navy guys, they pick up Randy Quaid to escort him to prison, basically, because he was caught stealing from the donation box of the captain or the general or somebody in charge's wife's little pet project that she has, and he was caught stealing some. He only stole like $10, and it's just a ridiculous set of circumstances Randy Quaid fell into. But he's kind of a ditzy kid. He's just a young, dumb kid, and he's going to be put away for a long time. So they try to take him and show him a good time on the way to prison, which, you know, they weren't supposed to do that, but they thought, well, you know, this kid's going to never know anything because he's going to go to prison, and he's, you know, so they try to show him a good time, and they get into all these different episodic little things, and it's such a great movie. It's, you know, if you're starting to discover Hal Ashby and his movies, it's definitely a movie you got to get. This is a great release. Indicator, as always, has just chock full of stuff. It actually has Alexander Payne does the introduction to this movie. There's a couple of specials on here. Michael Chapman, the director of photography, interview with him. A bunch of stuff. So I thought I would get this before it went out of print and everything, and I waited a while to get it. So I finally got it. It's probably one of my, I don't know if I guess it would be one of my favorite movies. It's just hard to, where do I place this? It's definitely in my top 50 favorite movies. It's such a great movie. But there you go, The Last Detail. Highly recommend that, guys. So that's about it. Just some little mixed bag of stuff tonight. A few little good things there. I will recommend The Last Detail. Check that out. Cinema Paradiso. I mean, they're all recommendations. That's why I'm showing them to you. But really check those out. There's some really, that's kind of a real mixed up amount of stuff there. So a little bit of everything to choose from. And I hope you like that. I hope you like this episode. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell so you're notified when I release another episode. And if you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and also comment. I love talking to you guys. Give me a comment on what you thought about these movies. And until next time, guys, be safe out there. Watch good movies, and I'll see you guys again later.